Well, Alistair, the Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, has travelled from Downing Street to Balmoral Castle here. We just saw him a few moments ago go through the gates in a Range Rover. He's got out the car now with his wife, Carrie Johnson, and has entered the castle to formally tender his resignation to Her Majesty the Queen. I think it's fair to say that he's had a, perhaps at times, pretty turbulent relationship with Her Majesty. Just a few hours into his premiership, he reportedly let slip to an aide what was said in a private meeting between the two of them. The Queen reportedly told the Prime Minister she didn't know why anyone would want the job as the Prime Minister. And then, of course, if you remember, before the pandemic and everything else, back in 2019, he effectively kind of forced the Queen to prorogue Parliament. Critics kind of said that that was Boris Johnson's attempts to block parliamentary scrutiny in the run-up to Brexit Day. And then, of course, the Supreme Court found that that proroguing of Parliament was, in fact, unlawful. And the Queen acts on the Prime Minister's advice, so her hands were tied. And then, of course, last year, following the Partygate scandal at least, the Prime Minister had to make what can best be described as perhaps a grovelling apology to Her Majesty the Queen when it was found that Downing Street staff were partying in Number 10 on the eve of Prince Philip's funeral, of course, married to the Queen for 70 years. Well, Boris Johnson is currently in there tendering his resignation to Her Majesty the Queen at Balmoral Castle. In around an hour, or less than an hour I should say, Liz Truss, the new leader of the Conservative Party, will arrive at Balmoral Castle, and the Queen will formally invite her to form a government in her name and therefore become the Queen's 15th Prime Minister.